Buenas tardes, ¿cómo están? Bien. Ok. ¿Tú eres latino? Oh, ¿latinos aquí? ¿Sí? Bueno, buenas tardes, good afternoon. My name is Sarita Bagley, and it's a real pleasure to be back and talk to you about my country, which is Honduras. And it's a very small country in Central America. And it's about the size of Kentucky. It's 43,000 square miles. In Kentucky is 40. The opposite. Honduras 40,000. Kentucky is 43. So Kentucky is a little bit. I'm confused now. Kentucky is a little bit smaller, and Honduras has twice the population of Kentucky. There's 8 million Hondurans. A lot of them actually have moved to the United States in the past few years because the situation of poverty and violence in Honduras. We've been in a very bad situation for the past 10 years. There was a coup that happened in 2009 and it put the country in a very bad situation. And the official language of Honduras is Spanish, but there are also 6 other languages that are spoken, and some of them are from the people who were there before the Spanish arrived, and there was also some British people from England that came, and a little bit of the French that came by the islands and influenced the culture of Honduras. I'm from a group called the Garifuna, which was considered Afro-Latinos, and not so many people know that there are many different races in Latin America, not just only the native Latinos that were there years ago, but there's also people who arrived later. We even have a big Jewish community. We have a Chinese. In the 1980s, there was a big wave of Chinese that arrived to Honduras, and now it's obvious. So being Latino is not about specific race, but it's more of a culture and different things that we share. And one thing that most of us have in common is the language, but not always, because like I say, in my country there are many different spoken languages. I speak Garifuna, which is the language of the group that I belong to, and it has some French and it has some English in it, and it has a very different sound than Spanish. Do any of you speak Spanish, by the way? Okay, yeah, it's a good group. And yeah, it's very valuable. Congratulations to you all who speak another language. Oh, anybody speaks French in here? You do. Bonjour. Comment ça va? Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to learn French. But yeah, it is a little bit hard because I'm not immersed in the language. But yeah, there is ways that you can learn a different language, by trying to listen to it. There's so many great films out there appropriate for your age that you can listen to. Actually, that's what I'm doing now. Listen to movies in French. When I'm a fashion designer, so I sew clothing all the time, and I don't have time to be sitting watching the movies, but what I'll do, I put my phone in my pocket and put my earplugs, and I listen to the films. That way I can get familiar with the sounds of a different language. So you can try those things as well, because learning about other cultures and other languages, it gives you a great advantage. It is really fascinating to understand that there is a huge world out there. There's so many opportunities that you can get from speaking a different languages. And I feel really blessed to have been able to end up here in Kentucky and have learned English. When I first arrived, I couldn't speak any English whatsoever. And it was very frustrating and it was depressing because I like to talk a lot. And not being able to communicate with people and share my ideas, it was very frustrating, and it was insulated as well. It's very hard to participate in society if you're not able to communicate. And considering how multicultural United States is, understanding culture and being able to speak a different languages is definitely a great advantage. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I ended up over here Here's Honduras. If you see it in that tiny little orange spot over there in the middle. Yeah, is it better? Okay, we'll see. We're having some technical difficulties. So that little country over there is Honduras. And I was born in a coast next to Guatemala, which is the green one over there. But then I moved to live close to Nicaragua because my grandfather lived there, and that's where I met my husband, who is my husband now. He's an archaeologist, and he was doing his research over there. He's been doing it for years, and so we met and got married and ended up in Kentucky, out of all places. And when we first get married and we were gonna move here, he said, I have to tell you, we're gonna move to Kentucky. It's in the South. It's a small state, and there are not many Latinos in there. They're really almost nothing. And he went to school to Transylvania University in the 80s, and so he hasn't been back to Kentucky ever since. And so he was like, yeah, you might be not able to, speak Spanish or eat any other foods and things that you're used to. Because the food that we eat in Honduras is pretty much Caribbean style, so the similar foods people eat in Jamaica, especially on the coast of Honduras. Food that people eat in Jamaica and Cuba, and a lot of seafood and coconut milk. They would put coconut milk and everything, and it makes it really delicious. But anyway, and we arrived to Lexington, and there were a lot of Latinos everywhere. And he was like, well, I didn't know that this happened. But definitely in the past 20 years, let's say, there has been a lot of more Latinos who have come to Kentucky. And what is the main reason you think that a lot of Latinos have come to Lexington? What's the main jobs that the Latinos they do in Kentucky? One of the very important jobs. Say it again? Translator, yeah, that's one of the languages. Yeah, you get jobs.
Construction workers.
Construction, but what's one of the main ones is, yes.
Car workers.
Yeah, some of that.
Horses.
It's the horses. Yes, it's the horses. That's kind of one of the reasons they started to come is to work on the farms and take care of the horses. But now, when some people start to come and the families start to come after, and that's how, people move to different places. It's like a cousin move here, and then it's like, hey, cousin, you should come down here, their jobs over here. And before you know, more family members start to come. And so now they're doing many other types of jobs, but that's one of the main reasons. So yeah, when I arrived, and there was, old area in Lexington, there are signs in Spanish. Do you all go by Alexandria, the Alexandria Drive area? Yeah. So you see there are signs in Spanish and people walking around and doing organizing events. Like I'm part of the Foundation for Latin America Culture and Arts, and we organized a Latino festival, which we just had. Did any of you got to go to the Latino festival this year? Yeah, did you have fun? Yeah, we had to cancel some of the events because of the rain, but this festival has been going on for 16 years, and it's usually celebrated in September, because the Latino or Hispanic Heritage Month, which that's the reason why I'm here to visit today, and the Hispanic Heritage celebration starts on September 15 and ends on October 15. And the reason why it's celebrated during that time is because a lot of the Latin American countries have their Independence Day in September, including Honduras. Honduras Independence Day is September 15, and so is Mexico. And many Central American countries, El Salvador, Costa Rica, and Guatemala also have it in the same dates. So that's what we have, Hispanic Heritage Month. And we get to go and share our culture because hi, hola. The Latino culture is very rich and diverse as well. Like I was saying before, we have so many different styles of clothing and music and visual arts and food. It's very different from country to country. But anyway, so I'm gonna continue telling you about me coming to Kentucky. So I arrived here and started to meeting people. I started taking English classes, which was very, very difficult. I mean, I shared more than one tear trying to learn English. English is very confusing. Like, you know, when you say you welcome, and then when somebody arrives, you say welcome as well. That is just like, what is that about? It's so confusing. It makes sense, you know? It's like when somebody, you say thank you to somebody and they say you welcome, and then when they arrive, also you say welcome. And there were several words like that that just didn't make any sense, but we have some like that in Spanish. But definitely I feel like English is a very hard language to learn. But yeah, I did. I took classes, and after work in the evenings, I'll go to adult education and took very intensive classes, and I was very committed to learn. I really, really wanted to learn. Like I say, I want to be involved in the community and do things, and if you're not able to communicate, it is very difficult. So later after that, I got pregnant with my first child, and I decided to, just stay home and work doing what I love, which is sewing. Because before I was working with my husband, he's an archaeologist, and we were doing mostly research around the state of Kentucky. Sorry. I'm making a mess with the props. This is really pretty. Where is this from? Tapestry, Mexico. Okay, so I bet it's hand woven. It's very pretty. But anyway, so I was doing research with him, just going around the state of Kentucky, digging sites, looking for artifacts. And I couldn't do that after I had my daughter. So I stayed home and started sewing, and my business started to grow, but it was very lonely, so eventually I decided to organize a fashion show. Any of you been to a fashion show? Oh, you have? Where? Where do you go to a fashion show? Here in Lexington? Oh, cool. What about you? Where was it?
It was when I was younger, I don't remember.
Okay.
But my cousin was in it.
Okay, yeah, fashion shows are really fun. Okay, so I organized this fashion show, and a lot of people came. We have about 500 people who came to the fashion show, and so I started to get known in the community. And I wanted to use, the fact that a lot of people got to know me to share my culture and where I'm from. Because like I said before, there's not so many people who know that there are Afro-Latinos who are from African ancestry who came to Latin America, and so we speak Spanish just like any other Latinos that come to the United States. And so that has given me the opportunity to come to speak to classes like yours and let you know that there is, so much out there, that you open your mind to culture and to learning, that there's so many things can happen to you. Like through my involvement in fashion, I have been able to be connected to so many different groups and organizations and events. I have been able to travel all over the United States speaking about my culture and the work that I do. I even have been to Europe to talk about it. And so yeah, culture diversity is very important. It is not just because it's important to respect and understand other people, but when you open your mind to culture and diversity, it provides opportunities for you as well. That connects you with people that you otherwise probably never gonna be connected to. So I just want you to take this opportunity to get to know people from different countries and trying to learn more about what's up there, and travel. Focus your energy and efforts in going to places. It's definitely worthwhile to travel. I was just very lucky to end up in Kentucky out of all places. But I always had the desire ever since I was a little girl. Even I grew up very poor and didn't have much possibilities for traveling. I always wanted to go and see the world, what's up there. I didn't want to stay in one single place my whole life. So just think about that, and I'm just gonna leave you with that, and hope you learn something about Honduras. Anybody know what's the capital of Honduras? One last quiz. Nope. Tegucigalpa, and it's in the central area of Honduras and the mountains. And the currency is el lempira, which is worth 0.2 cents of a dollar. It's very low. The currency is really not very worth it when it compared to the dollar. And it's very beautiful. It's considered one of the most beautiful currencies of bills in the world. So you look it up. And yeah, that's all I have to share with you all. Thank you so much. And learn some Spanish, okay? Habla español, es muy importante. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias. Sí, es muy importante aprender el español. Okay, well, we're going to continue with our next presenters who come from the Kentucky Refugee Ministries. Miss Dana Lea, adelante.
Hello, gentlemen. My name is Dana Lee, and I work with the Kentucky Refugee Ministries. Do you know what a refugee is? Right here. Okay, they can escape from war in their country. They can also escape from something else. Poverty. Another is persecution. So when the government of your country is trying to put you in jail or kill you or give you some sort of punishment because of your race, your religion, your ethnicity, your religion. So the Kentucky Refugee Ministries helps make Kentucky home for so many refugees, mostly Congolese here in Lexington. We have an office here on North Limestone, and then we also have an office in Louisville. So our Louisville office is much bigger, but we accept 350 individuals here in Lexington, mostly Congolese. We're starting to see more Syrians, Bhutanese, Burmese, Iraqis, Afghans, and we're going to get some more Ukrainians as well. So we're very plugged into international crises around the world and what's going on as far as civil wars and government breakdowns. But for today, I'm going to talk about another area that we are focused on, and that is our immigration as well as our Cuban program. So we bring a lot of Cubans. There's a Cuban and Haitian entrance program for the United States, and it started in 1966, the Cuban Adjustment Act, which basically said if a Cuban makes it onto American soil, they can remain as a legal immigrant. This gives them all sorts of benefits. They are not a refugee, so they are not under the same like cash assistance programs of the government, but they receive a lot of the same benefits. So they can be employed, they can apply for their work authorization, they can become legal residents, and then eventually they can apply for citizenship. And so it's a lot easier of a process for a Cuban once they're in the United States than for many, many Latin American immigrants that we have coming. So Cubans are with us at KRM. We resettle here in Lexington. We had 43 individuals come in this last year, but our Louisville office is one of the largest resettlement locations for Cubans outside of Miami. We'll have a lot of Cubans leave to go to Miami because it's kind of like a little Cuba for them. But we also have a legal immigration team, and they work with immigrants from all over Latin America who are coming and seeking to either bring family members here to apply for citizenship, permanent residence, and also we work with, you've seen the unaccompanied children, so any minors that cross the border and then want to petition to stay in America. But I know all that information is really boring and you don't care. So it is boring, immigration. So something more exciting, I'm gonna have Adrian come up. Adrian is a young Cuban man who came through the Kentucky Refugee Ministries through a government program that's the Cuban Parolee program. So he received benefits through the government and through KRM, some help, and he can talk to you about his journey to the United States, why he came to the United States, and feel free to ask him questions in English or Spanish if you want to give it a go. And yeah, ask him lots of questions about his life and about Cuba and why he decided to make a move all by himself to the United States.
Hi, my name is Adrian. I am Cuban. I don't know, what do you ask me?
What is it like when you were in Cuba? Like, what was it like for you in Cuba?
The place is very young because we don't have a good economy. We don't have a good salaries. Is a I don't know. Sorry, I'm nervous. It's very young because okay. The Cuban people we are very generous. We are very fun, but when you need work or you need pay something, you know, in the life, it's very hard because you don't have money. For example, for take one car, you cannot buy one car. The transportation in my country is very difficult because we don't have money. The government say that we don't have money for buy, I don't know, many buses for the whole public or all people is very strong. You know, you understand? Okay. Yeah.
Why did you leave Cuba?
Why what?
Why did you leave Cuba?
I live in Havana, you know.
¿Por qué dejó Cuba?
I live in Cuba. I'm sorry.
No, está bien.
I leave Cuba because sorry, because here in the United States you have more possibilities. You can study. Well, in Cuba everybody can study, but you can study and better. You can work too. The principal reason is the work, because my country before I said him that you work and you don't have you don't see the money, you don't earn nothing, it's just life for work, and you don't have I don't know, in the future you cannot take your buy something, I don't know, you like a house, like a car, that things.
Voy a cambiar la batería que está porque parece que no está. Pueden seguir haciendo preguntas.
Yeah.
No change that.
How did you get to the United States by yourself?
¿Cómo llegó a los Estados Unidos solo de Cuba?
Yeah, I come here alone. My family is all the way from Cuba. I go first in Ecuador and live in Ecuador for 2 years, and then I come here alone.
How old were you when you moved to the United States?
So then,
How old were you when you moved here?
24 years old. I have right now 26. I'm sorry, my bad. I have been here for 5 months only. Yeah.
All Cubans tall like you.
Generally, yeah. Maybe. No, I am very tall. I am tall. But the Cuban is like, yeah, it's people, it's tall. It's like American people. Yeah.
Oh, was it difficult? Did you already know English, or was it difficult to learn? Or did you have to learn?
Wow. It's difficult. I love when I was a kid. I always liked that language, English. In Cuba we have in the school they teach you English, but it's not so difficult for me because I like that, you know. And when you have a purpose or a plan that you want something, you fight, you learn, you focus on that you want. But this is not, I think no, it's not difficult. I need to learn more. I want to learn more. Yeah.
Was your education free?
Okay.
Was your education free?
Oh, sí, está gratuita la educación.
In my country, yeah. The education and the health is all free. Yeah.
What city in Cuba were you from?
The Havana, from Havana, the capital of Cuba. Yeah.
You play basketball?
Yeah, I love the basketball. In my country, it's difficult. It's very young, no? But I always see the play of NBA of here. This is the basketball that the people Cuban see. And we have a team of basketball, of course, but it's no very well. So the NBA is the great, best. Yeah.
Have you ever seen one of your teams play one of the U.S. teams in basketball?
I'm sorry, no, this-
Si ha jugado alguna vez un equipo de Cuba con un equipo de Estados Unidos.
Well, I played when I kid. The United States is the convenios.
¿Convenio?
Sí, un convenio para jugar entre cuando yo era chico en la escuela de deporte. Convenio para jugar entre un equipo de Estados Unidos contra un equipo de
When I was a kid, there was one time in which we had like a selection, I say when like intramural type things, that idea, when a team came, a U.S. team played against
Yeah.
different teams.
US team win, of course. Yeah, but in the Olympics in the world competition of basketball, yeah, they play. But the United States is better. The United States is better. They are all world in basketball.
What about baseball?
No, baseball is Cuba. This is the sport national of my country, Cuba, the baseball. Yeah. Somebody what else?
I have a question.
Yes.
Now that there is exchange, está empezando intercambio, the exchange is beginning between Estados Unidos y Cuba, the United States and Cuba. What is your opinion about the change that may be coming?
This is a good question because the people Cuban is very effective with that situation because we have for that the Cuban people we have for that because I try to explain. Everybody no need a strong United States, but the United States is a big country, and Cuba, the United States is very near, very close. Everybody hope that this is good. We hope that this is good for the government, for the people of Cuba, because in my country the government always say that we don't have money because the United States is closed down, the laws, the blockade,
Blockade, embargo.
and everybody hope that the people with the new production with the United States, everything is going to change for well.
Okay.
Yes, what?
Do you speak any more languages than Spanish and English?
Yeah, Spanish, a little English, and a little Portuguese. No, Portuguese, Brazil.
What's your favorite language to speak?
My favorite? Well, I love the English, but I fluent the English, but I speak Spanish. But I love the English always. When I was a kid, Yeah.
Like, what was your favorite food there in Cuba?
Food? Well, good question. Favorite food for me, for every Cuban, is brown rice, pork, grilled, I don't know, asado,
Grilled, like on the grill.
pork, salad, and yuca. I don't know.
Yucca is the manioc plant. It's a root. It's like potato. It's different. It's a tuber.
Yeah, this is the favorite food. This is and right now in the 24 the Thanksgiving, no? Yeah, the young people is food with your family, and they eat and they have yeah.
What is the currency in Cuba? What is the currency in Cuba?
Country.
La moneda?
It's CUC. We have two currencies. We have a national currency that is peso, in Spanish, peso, the one. And we have all the coin is like it's like it's all coin, but the government put two coins for different. For example, you can go with the pesos, national coin, with the store. You need CUC for go to the store. Is other coin for buy in one store. I mean, when you buy one phone cell, you need that coin. The other coin is for buy is a little cost menos costoso.
Less expensive.
Yeah, because we have an envelope for go to the bodega,
To the store.
the store for buy food and drinks like oil, nothing. You go to the peso, and the other store for buy the cell phone or the bill. You need all the content.
Perdón, vamos a tener que limitarlo a una pregunta más.
Yeah.
In Cuba, do you guys use paper bills or coins? Like dollar
¿Tiene
bill.
efectivo de billetes, billetes, puras monedas?
No, we have both. We have both. Yeah. I don't have. Yeah.
Do you have any like brothers and sisters, siblings?
No.
I think we're going to have to just ask this last question.
How much is what is the time difference between here and Cuba? Like,
The different. Oh, is because it's all for the Cuban people that is all is new for us because we don't never see I don't know the street with the letters with the traffic the organization in Cuba maybe I can but you don't have a credit card for buy I don't know, in Cuba, I can, my phone, I can take the phone that I have. I love when I come here, the organization is here, the generous people here. I don't know other states, but here in Kentucky, I love that. It's very well.
Muchísimas gracias. Bueno, vamos a terminar vamos a sesión de esto, pero muchísimas gracias. Vamos a terminar con Vitalino. Pero adelante, Vitalino es de Guatemala. Wait, I'm speaking in Spanish. Only. We're gonna Vitalino is here from Guatemala, so he's gonna talk to us.
Bueno, thank you for inviting me back, and thank you for this opportunity, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm gonna be very short. Okay, I'm gonna give a little background where I come from, and then my parents, and then Guatemala, where is Guatemala, and all of that. And then I'll explain a little bit about my journey, how I got here in the U.S. And then I'll give a little bit about where I work and what I do right now here in Lexington. So I decided to come to U.S. when I was 15 years old from Guatemala. Guatemala here, it's a very little country. I'm not exactly sure if you already know much about Guatemala. It's in Central America. And so I came here to US because I was looking for better opportunities. I wanted to expand my education, and I wanted to grow as a professionally. So I left my parents back in Guatemala and my mom. My mom doesn't speak Spanish. She speaks a different language. We call it mom. And my father just went up to third grade in Guatemala, and then for that same reason, that's why I wanted to come here in US and grow and all of that and learn a lot, especially about the culture. So my journey from Guatemala to get here was very difficult because first of all the language and then the culture. It was very difficult for me to adapt to find friends in school. I couldn't speak English, so I would just stay in one corner because I couldn't speak English. But and then after time, I started to learn and meet new people, and I started to play soccer. Do you guys play any sports in here? Soccer? Yes. So I started to meet friends through soccer and learn the language, and eventually overcame that. And then I started to get involved in the culture, and I learned a lot. But after but it was very difficult for me because I was here by myself. My parents were back home, and I would have to get up in the mornings and go to school. And then it was very difficult. It was very difficult because I didn't have my mom to make me breakfast in the morning. You know, she wasn't there to wake me up and then to go to school. So I had to do my laundry, I had to cook, I had to clean, I had to work too because I had to support myself. But it was a good challenge that I learned through there. And then all of those experiences also made me realize how important and the good things that US has to offer, like especially education. I think they ask him a question about if education in our country is free compared to other countries. In Guatemala, it's very difficult. I had to pay to go to school there. Like if I wanted to go to high school, I had to pay to go to high school. Even middle school, I had to pay to go to middle school. So it is very, very hard to get an education back in Guatemala. There are no jobs, and so and my parents never went high to get a job. So it was those are the same things that when I came here, I learned that I could find a job and I could support myself, and that there was a lot of opportunities for me that made me realize that education it was really important, and that and I was given that opportunity. So from there, I went after high school. I went to study in college, and I graduated in 2013, and I studied psychology. I wanted to help people. I wanted to help a lot of people like myself when I came here to US, and now I work with families. I work with families in general. I work with children, moms and parents, dads. I work with a lot of refugee families as well. What I do is that I go help them with whatever they need. Like I help link them with resources in the community, or if a child needs help with homework and all of that, I help parents with that. And I educate parents too about the cultural barriers that they face here in this country. A lot of the parents don't, because of the language, it's very hard for them to adapt to the culture and all of that. But I teach them those skills. I teach them the values and of living here and the culture and all of that. And it's a really good experience to me. I don't know if you have any questions for me in particular.
Was it hard to adapt to the
It was very hard because you see in my country, in Guatemala, we will just as a children we will just go outside. We were just playing outside all the time. We never inside. But when I got here, the children are usually inside, so there wasn't much to do inside, and I'm not used to like play video games. So I was just like that was very hard for me. I felt really depressed at times. And because my parents were not here, so I missed them too. We speak Spanish, like I said, but we also speak Mam. It's an indigenous language. Do you want me to say both of those? Okay. Is there something in Spanish that you wanna ask? Different? The word different? Diferente? Yeah, Spanish in Guatemala.
Imam, ¿qué sería?
Imam, chonte. Ajá.
¿Cómo te llamas?
Mi nombre es Vitalino.
Pero dilo al nombre.
No existe imam.
No se puede decir.
No se puede decir mi nombre imam. I can't say my name because it's a kind of like an Italian name. My parents learned about this Italian guy and.
Pero no se puede decir.
So
mi nombre es.
Oh sí, mi nombre sí. Nguije Vitalino. El nombre en sí, I can't change the name. There's no name in Mam. We use quetzales. So for exchange rate, it's about for $1 we will pay seven quetzales. So if I have 7 quetzales now, I can exchange it for $1. So. Any questions?
Did it change you to live in Guatemala or in America?
I think it's in Guatemala. It is more expensive if you think about it. It's just because the way the resources work there. Like for example, they are more expensive, so families make less money when they're working, but they pay more for what they pay here in U.S. for the items.
Where did you get your degree in psychology?
I went to a school in southern Indiana. It's in Evansville. It's about 3 to 4 hours from here. It's called the University of Southern Indiana. Yeah. Yeah, Henderson. Yeah, it's very close from Henderson. You have any families from there? Yeah. It's very close. It's about 10 to 20 minutes from there. Yes.
Did you have to start working before you came here to like get practice so you can make a living for yourself?
I started working when I was as long as I can remember. I will say about 6 years. That was in Guatemala. I used to help my parents with the animals and whatever my mom needed help out in the farm. And then yeah, when I got here, so I guess I was prepared a little bit, so that wasn't a shock. I think that's it. Thank you for the time, and I hope you all, I answered all of the questions that you have.